And this time I didn't start the recording just as you said something that probably shouldn't have been recorded.
Now I'm doing something that probably shouldn't be recorded.
Yeah.
Pretending.
What was that George Carlin
Yeah.
cover? Yeah. Yeah. I'm Eric Paul Johnson.
And I'm Eric Winsenson. And we're adults.
Yeah, we're here doing our George Carlin podcast now. We got a few comments from Time, or the Time Bonus Tracks episode, but they were long comments. So we should probably just get right to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got Trevor Raggett, who says, my Time album story. When Time came out in July 1981, I didn't buy it immediately, despite being a huge LOL fan.
That made me LOL.
That was an LOL, but yeah, despite being a huge E.L.O. fan. I know that at the end of the month, the youth choir I sang in was going on a tour to the islands of Jersey and Guernsey between England and France. I also knew that since they had different tax and import laws from the UK, albums would be about 30% cheaper than at home. So at the end of July, we got on the boat to Jersey, and the next day we all hit the record shops in the main town, blowing most of our week and a half spending money in one hit. Of course, Time was the first album I grabbed from the rack, along with half a dozen others, but no record players on tour. No way to play our albums until we got home. Those 10 days felt like a month as I carted a bag full of unplaced records around from venue to venue. The first thing I did when I got home was put it on the record player in my bedroom and immediately thought, what on earth is this? It's brilliant.
It is. Aaron Jason wrote, with El Dorado being my all-time favorite album, it's little to no surprise that Time is the runner-up. Wish Jeff would have another crack at a concept album. Maybe it could be titled Return to El Dorado and be a return to using 40-piece orchestras and 20-piece choirs. A man can only dream. I don't think concept albums would work nowadays.
They do.
They still have them, but for them, I think most people, they listen to the album in order once, pick what songs they like best, put it in the playlist, and then they're done. It's not like where back in my day, we used to put the album on and you listen all the way through. Now people kind of break up albums.
Oh, that's true. I do the same thing.
Yeah. I mean,
but there are certain albums I still listen to all the way through whenever I get the chance. But
right. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I listened to Time from start to finish, other than this podcast. But, we listen to it once a week. It's kind of a long time to drag out a 13-track album.
True. I
do not want him to do Return to El Dorado or Time and Time Again or something like that. It's, I don't know. It's too chancy. I mean, when you're going up against albums that are considered your greatest, that's like a lot of pressure to deliver. And if you don't deliver, fans or people like me are going to be like, oh, why did you do that? Especially considering how his songs sound, the new recording sound. I would love it.
Just think what happened with Operation Mindcrime 2.
Exactly.
And which Eric Paul's just going, huh?
Uh-huh.
That was the sequel to a classic album by Queensryche at a time when Queensryche had stopped actually making good music. Mm-hmm. And then, even though it wasn't half bad, Thick as a Brick Part 2, one of the better Ian Anderson solo albums, but definitely not anything close to Thick as a Brick.
Right. I would like to see him. I keep cutting you off.
I just said be careful what you wish for.
Oh, yeah. I would like to see him bring back the 40-piece orchestra and 20-piece choirs. That would help make those songs sound full, and it would put the orchestra back in Electric Light Orchestra. All right, I'm done with my rant. You can go on.
Okay. And next up, we got Bradley Munson, Eric, Paul, and Eric. Thank you for your analysis of all the E.L.O. albums. When I used to have the Time album on vinyl, in headphones, I heard a sound at the end of side 2 after the last song. As the needle approached the inner groove, the sound was only 1 second long. I thought it was the voice of John Lennon singing 3 syllables. It was so faint I could not make it out clearly. I regret selling my vinyl copy of Time. That soundbite is not on the CD. If you could corroborate what I heard, I would be very grateful. Now, that brings up a question. Do I have my vinyl, the full vinyl copy, recorded?
He also says, by the way, in an early podcast, when Madeline shouted, "I hated it," it was one of the funniest things I ever heard. Well, good. Glad we're making laughing. What you described sounds really creepy. I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, the album comes to a dead stop. You got that silence until the needle lifts up, and then to hear John's voice very silently, it sounds like it'd be very ghostly. As for corroborating, I don't know. All my E.L.O. vinyl, all my vinyl, is still boxed up in boxes. Hopefully someday I will be able to get a house. I'll be able to take all my records out of boxes and put them up. And same goes for my turntable, to be able to take my stereo out of storage and hook my turntable up to that. Usually I only bring out my turntable if I need to transfer a record to a digital format. So I can't really dig that out and put that on and listen to it and find out. I don't remember hearing it, but I don't think I ever listened to Time in headphones. I usually hate being tethered to something when I'm listening. Kind of like the freedom of listening to things and walking around.
I'm seeing if I might have a way of doing that, but I don't know if I've got the entire album recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I did a recording of it, it was back years ago when I was taking off the songs I wanted to listen to in the car.
Right.
So, and putting them either on cassette or CD. So,
yeah.
And archiving everything completely at the moment, but let me see here. There we go. Well, you can go on with yours while I
Oh, that's right. I'm up next. I was like,
yeah,
around.
you are next. You can go on with yours while I see what I can find and to corroborate anything with that. It may be something we have to put off for another time, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was looking around. There's dead air. What can I do to fill it? Oh, right. I'm
read
next.
Another letter.
Yes, I'm next. Been out of practice with the radio thing for a while. Jeff Ledford, Eric and Eric. He spells one of the Erics with a K. I'm going to say that's Winsenson that he misspelled, and this way I won't get cranky. One of my pet peeves was when people put a non-existent K in my name, especially when it's right there for them people to look at. Anyway, I have thoroughly enjoyed your weekly podcast covering everything E.L.O. has done. Oh, thank you very much. I've been an E.L.O. fan since 1977 when my best friend Bill exposed me to a New World record. That was my first album I bought. Not too much longer after that, Bill and I went to the Out of the Blue concert in Knoxville, Tennessee. But that was nothing compared to our experience a few years later. Fast forward to August 1981. Both Bill and I were first semester freshmen at East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, Tennessee. We had tickets to see E.L.O. on their Time tour in Roanoke, Virginia, about 4 hours away. We drove up midday that day, found the Coliseum, and decided to get something to eat at the Holiday Inn restaurant across the street. I failed to mention that the opening act for E.L.O. that night, Hall & Oates. Which seems kind of weird to this is me now, not him. Seems kind of weird to me that Hall & Oates is opening for E.L.O. because Hall & Oates was a big frickin' deal in 1981. So it seems, I don't know, it's two big names and the opening act is, I don't know, it seems weird to me. We were just walking into the hotel lobby when we spotted Hall & Oates walking through the lobby towards the rooms. Yes, it was a little weird going through the lobby yelling, "Mr. Oates! Mr. Oates!" We turned back around to head back into the lobby and the restaurant, when right in the middle of the restaurant was the entire E.L.O. group, except for Jeff. Being the huge fans that we were, we went right up to the table and introduced ourselves. They invited us to sit down, so we did. We got to spend a few minutes talking with them. We asked where Jeff was, and one of the guys said he was over there in the corner. Yes, there he was, sitting in a corner, by himself. We excused ourselves and walked up to the table where Jeff was sitting. We introduced ourselves and asked for autographs. Bill, always thinking how to stand out, asked about his wife Sandy. Jeff seemed to be caught a little off guard with that question, but was extremely pleasant to talk with. We quickly thanked him for his time and left. Talk about walking on clouds. The night didn't end there. We went back over to the Coliseum and stood in line to be sure and get a good spot close to the stage. Festival seating. Standing was in place. We ended up less than 10 feet from the stage. Hall & Oates was outstanding. But the gourd we came to see, I'm going to guess he meant group. I kind of like that better. But the gourd we came to see did not disappoint. From the first sounds of the opening for the Time album, including the robot coming out onto the stage to talk through the opening, through all of the great songs that night, it was a dream come true. Bill even got the drumstick that Bev threw into the crowd. To cap the night off, instead of going out to the car, we walked behind the Coliseum and got to see the group drive off in their limos. After getting back to campus early that next morning and suffering through classes that day, we finally got to relax back in our dorm room, talking about what a great concert the whole show was. Bill asked where they were that night, and looking at the back of the concert program, I found out they were in Greensboro, North Carolina that night. Not knowing where exactly Greensboro was, Bill decided to go to the library and find out. About 20 minutes later, he came running into the dorm room to report that Greensboro was just over the mountains a little ways. So we made a quick decision to hit the road. Another 4 hours later, we are going into the Greensboro Coliseum to once again watch our favorite band for the second night in a row. Bill and I have seen Jeff Lynne's E.L.O. each of the past 2 years in Philadelphia and Tampa. Both were fantastic shows, but nothing will ever top that great Time experience in 1981. Thanks for your podcasting, bringing back all those memories. An E.L.O. fan forever. You lucky bastard. That is such a cool story. I friggin' envy you. That would have been so awesome.
I want to know what type of gourd it was.
I don't know. What kind of gourds do they have in the South?
One lucky gourd up there with a Time tour, too.
Yeah.
By the way, my recording of Time cuts off right after Hold On Tight, so it does not have the ending part. So I will have to get back with that later. And it also reminded me I probably need a better condition copy of Time.
How can you record Time and cut off the epilogue?
Because, again, it was for playing in the car. It was, at the time I was going, these are the best songs that will get me along on a road trip.
I guess. But, I'm sure as I said in the episode, I love epilogue. I love everything about epilogue. But, again, going all the way back to episode 000, I'm the super fan, and Eric likes him, but he's not like me, like, holy crap, that was awesome. The whole thing.
These were recorded to CD back when I was first able to get a CD recorder to hook up to my stereo system.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
So,
All right. I'll let it slide.
actually, it's the first time I've gone through the album since then, to tell you the truth.
All right. I'll let it slide.
Okay. So, up next, we've got Corey,
Who
who
has a
says,
lot to say?
like your crap. Oh, no. Like your recap. But anyway, like your recap, my comment is going on a bit long. Keep up the great work. I am so proud to have sponsored these Time podcasts, even if that only works out to pennies an episode. Still going. I know how hard even making this recap episode was, and wasn't surprised when you skipped the very last couple of songs. But I really appreciate all you did cover. Even though people write LOL a lot when EW said that the Dream DVR will go porno, had me really laughing out loud. Just a fantastic recap of a fantastic album. I know the amount of work behind the scenes that we don't even get to see. The prep work both before and after an episode. It does show, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all of it. A quick quote from the Jerk. Man, just perfect. The work to find the right quote, where to put it. I know the amount of work, but you missed one. After you were talking about how this was for profit, after you were talking about how this was a for-profit gig, I was waiting to hear Steve Martin from The Jerk again. You know the part. I made it through. I had a million little comments come to my head while listening to this epic podcast. Like when people comment with E.L.O. lyrics but get them wrong and it hurts my ears. But I forget them by the time I write the comment. What I do remember while listening is thinking, wow to put the production value. First, you have you two front and center, then background music balanced just right, and then all the naughty bits, the movie and TV, etc. quotes, all put together so well. Hold on tight. I just finished listening to the epic bonus track podcast of Time. I don't know how you managed to wrangle all the comments from all the different outlets. Kudos. So why not comment on Hot now?
Hold on tight.
Oh, so why not comment on Hold On Tight now? No idea. I guess just want to hear myself type. How do we fit the round peg of Hold On Tight into the square hole of Time? Very carefully with a little wiggling and a lot of lube. Anyway, I think it fits in more ways than one. First, the protagonist of Time has been wishing or dreaming of getting back to 1981, and Hold On Tight is a celebration of getting back. If you hold on tight enough, your dreams can come true. Even if you get down and miss your baby like the protagonist did through most of the LP, you can still make it home. There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. Oh, great. Now I'm typing as if I'm on your podcast. 2, from the future, we head back in time. And if we were living in 1981 at the time the LP came out, like most of us, the feel of going back in time is represented in song by a 50s number. It really hammers the concept home that he went back to the past, or our present. I'm confused. What is time again? Volunteers. And I disagree with Bevan. Hold On Tight sounds much more 50s than 60s to me. But as far as the first 50s song, when I first heard Don't Bring Me Down, it sounded very 50s to me, as much as a rocking disco beat can. One other disjointed thought, how different this song sounds from the rest of the LP. I remember purchasing LPs in the 70s and 80s based on one hit single, only to be very disappointed to find out the single was far and away the best song on the LP, and the rest of the LP sounded nothing like it. Brandy, you're a fine girl. I can only imagine some people might have had the same reaction to Time, especially if they were expecting to hear a rockabilly 50s LP and got a very 80s LP instead. To me, Hold On Tight is just another great song on Jeff's masterpiece. I've always said in the world of bad analogies, Time is Jeff's Sergeant Pepper. And by the way, WTF? Really, France 24? The worst chart position in the world belongs to a place where E.L.O. speaks the language in the song? That is so typically French, you smug bastards. You make my twitch. Excuse me.
Well, thank you, Corey.
I shouldn't have said, I should have said, aw.
Yeah, to accurately describe the word.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, it did take a lot of time, and I was cramming to get it done because I had one day that week where it was the rare occasion where me and Tulla both had the day off. So all three of us, me, Tulla, and Madeline, we could spend the day together. So the day before that, I was cramming and getting and just trying to get this whole thing done. 1 hour or 37 minutes or whatever. So yeah, and hopefully that kind of work and cramming should go down a whole lot now that we're doing expanded episodes, which means there will be no outtakes at the end of bonus tracks, and then we're answering replies here. So that will cut down on the number of replies. Yes, there's a lot of production here, and one of the things that I really hate about podcasts, the ones that just drift away from the topic. I suffered through a WKRP podcast, and they spent like 30 minutes talking about Hawaiian pizza, which had nothing to do with the episode they were covering that week. And then and I hate podcasts that sound bad, that just sound like they're talking. They get the microphone, either just a cheap computer one, or they get the microphone way over here and it sounds like they're talking from across the room. So I want to do something. There are enough bad sounding podcasts out there. I don't want to be another one of those podcasts.
And he also doesn't compress the audio to here and back.
Yep. Honestly, when I hear something bad and I try to fix it and it's still not right, and I still mess and futz with it, I think to myself, what is it? That's right. WWJD. What would Jeff Flynn do? I guess that'd be JL. What would Jeff do? Fix it. Make it sound good. As good as I can with Audacity and the computer. I don't have the 180 track studio and professional setup. So thank you for noticing. It's a whole lot of hard work.
WWEWD.
Well, what was that?
WWEWD.
What would Eric Winsenson do?
Yeah. Scream, yell, wake up the neighbors.
There's been some of that too.
Wonder why he is cursed.
Yeah. No.
Throw holy water on the computer. Take computer into Best Buy because you shouldn't throw water on a computer. And then
yeah. No. If
get it done 3 weeks late.
Yeah. No. If I was alone when this happened, there would have been hollering and screaming. But Tulla was laying right next to me. Madeline went into the room. I'm like 45 minutes into the bonus tracks episode of Discovery, putting that together. And I dragged a sound thing in there, I don't know, a music bed or a drop, those little bits from movies and TV shows, those little sound things. The technical radio term is drops. And then it's stuck. And I just got the spinny ball. And I force quit. And even though I had saved it, when I opened it up, all I saw were blank lines across the whole thing. And there was nothing, it was all gone. Fortunately, I have worked with enough PCs to know that computers will destroy anything you've done at the slightest whim. And I had saved what I had done into one MP3 file. So even though I was off, that 45 minutes that I'd been working on had been wiped out in the Audacity program, at least I could drag that 45-minute file over to it and start over again. Anyway, thank you, Corey. You're a swell egg. Thank you for the compliments and the listening and just
and the story.
And the story.
Well, the screenplay, I should say.
The screenplay and the pennies per episode. Keep giving us more pennies. All right. Mike Hudson.
I wish that Bev could contribute some pennies, because then we get pennies from Bevan.
Wait a minute. Hold on. That was wacky. Need the little radio.
I thought you were about to grab a wiffle ball bat.
I don't have a 16,000
out from the side and just.
I don't have a 16,000 mile or 1,600 mile long wiffle bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Hudson. Okay, Eric Paul. When I referred to girls' voice in the other songs, to my ears it sounded like there were some female vocals on the first and second chorus of Twilight, mixed cleverly on top of the other harmonies. I didn't really hear it in the final choruses. I suppose it could be either Kelly or Jeff doing a really high falsetto or manipulating their vocal by recording it at a much slower speed than the pitch sounds higher when played back at normal speed. Then the segue between Twilight and Yours Truly 2095 sounds very much like the same voice that appears on the next album in the song Time After Time, which is also Sandy doing the female vocals. I also wonder if it might be Sandy doing the vocoder voice, I love you, sincerely, yours truly, several times in the song. But again, could be Jeff or Kelly. Most likely Jeff, if it's either of them. Of course, the twice said line, is that what you want, in Yours Truly 2095, that we all know is her for sure because the album credits say it so. Next, to me, in Rain is Falling, there's an interpolation of It's Raining, It's Pouring, the Old Man is Snoring, whatever that's called. And it sounds like a female voice doing that part in a couple places in the song. Then 21st Century Man. Sometimes I think I hear female vocals in the choruses, and other times not so much. This one I could be dead wrong on. But then there's the segue between the song and Hold On Tight, which is pretty much the same as the one in between, Twilight and Yours Truly 2095. Definitely female sounding vocal. Finally, Epilogue. That has to be female vocals backing Jeff on this one. Doesn't sound like Jeff or Kelly. To me, for most of those, I think they were Jeff. Either his high voice, some of it run through a vocoder, I would think. For Rain is Falling, I can totally see that as Kelly. When I saw the live version of Rock Aria in the 78 Wembley concert, and that's Kelly singing the opera part in the concert, I was like, damn, that guy can do a high voice. So I'm going to say in Rain is Falling, that's probably Kelly. And I'm also going to say in a lot of the other songs, Jeff or Kelly or both. But, let's get Jeff in here and he can tell us.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Well, next up, we're about to get schooled.
Yes, and this is the last comment, so this will end this bonus tracks commentary episode.
Yes. Mike Hudson, again, says, okay, Erics, both of you. You both have it wrong on the guitar synthesizer. It's neither a keytar, told you so, nor a keyboard that sounds like a guitar, which I kind of guessed because I've never seen a guitar synthesizer. Mm-hmm. Guitar synths are actual electric guitars, just like any other electric guitar, and can be played as a standard guitar if desired, but has an additional pickup installed called a hexaphonic pickup, which is actually 6 individual pickups, one for each string of the guitar, assuming it's a standard 6-string guitar. Instead of converting vibrations into an electrical signal like the regular pickups on an electrical guitar, the hexaphonic pickup converts those same vibrations into a digital signal, which can then be fed into any type of MIDI-equipped sound module, keyboard synthesizer, or these days, straight into a computer that's loaded with synth module software. The purpose of a guitar synthesizer is not to sound like a guitar, but rather the exact opposite, using a guitar as a controlling device, but creating the sounds of other things, pianos, organs, strings, horns, spacey whacked-out sounds, or fiddly bits, as Jeff might say. Which that now explains to me why so many people have said that a guitar synthesizer is a complete and total witch to work with.
Yeah, he went on further with a whole lot more explanation of it. And yeah, I can see why it might be a pain to deal with.
Yeah.
Yep. And thank you for correcting us. And wow, your correction was good. It's great to see that we have so many smart people who listen to this podcast. Well, I guess there's smart people who listen to E.L.O. Then again, we could be oafs putting out an oaf podcast and attract oafs, but we don't. We attract super geniuses,
Yes, we do.
even if I'm not one of them. But all right, well, let's see if I can post this to Facebook, since they put me in jail for saying women are Weird Al Yankovic, except I left off the Al Yankovic part. And they threw me in jail for 3 days.
I might see what happens if I do that.
Go ahead. Yeah. So next week, get into secret messages. I think we're done here.
Okay.
Where's that stop button? There it is.